Vox is going to be first up over for the team 1 versus what looks like Beast and Locks on team 2. Leaping right in. I'm not sure if they really wanted to go for that gate. Usually you use that not to re-engage like this or charge in at somebody. Usually use it defensively, but he does have himself the Fat, and got himself the Tyrant, he got himself all the demons all together. Vox trying to see if he can back up out of there, but Vox backing away if those demons can catch up to him with potential an obelisk around the corner. I feel like Beastly could take down Vox without, oh, he does end up actually avoiding a lot of these pets with the Ring of Peace. Not all of them, but a good portion of them. So at least he's able to kind of evade. But look at the amount of damage Vox is taking. And Beastly so far hasn't even like really touched him. He just sent in a couple of demons here and there, dropping down Obby. He got a couple of imps. And look at the amount of damage the Vox has to deal with without Beastly not even being over there. I know it's like a pet class, but damn. Look at that thing. Vox trying to see if he can charge over to Beastly with a Karma right after. Trying to see if he can reverse some of the damage back into Beastly. And there's going to be a little bit of cleave AoE inside of the room, but hopefully he doesn't get to cleave too many of these boys out. Fist of Fear right after. Vox is kind of low on health though, rotating through every single one of his defense. A quick incap to make sure the fear does not go up, but Vox is still just left with not a lot right now. Does he back up in the arena? I don't think you really go back. You're just going to die into the Fel card. It is spinning on you with one little imp barraging you. Vox trying to see if he can fight right through this. More Demon Dog is charging him. Fist of Fury, but it is going to be a big old meteor slamming down with Beastly, catching up on all the healing very, very quickly. Kevin Lander going to be up next as an Elemental Shaman. Big fan of this one. Big fan of Elemental in general. Got himself what looks like a fiery lava build, most likely that Earthshock, Frostshock combo into a Sky Fury really early on, as he is getting surrounded by all these pets. Look at his health. He's just walked in, set up a Sky Fury, and is sitting at about 60% health just in the opener versus Beastly. That is the advantage Demonology Warlocks have right now, don't they? You know what? When you guys are like in the chat, like, you know what? Everybody talks about Paladins being busted, but like, no one's looking at the Warlocks. I think the chat might be right on this one. Gonna be big zaps, but it looks like Beastly got himself a shield in order to keep himself alive. Stun onto Kevin, is able to knock these pets back for a second. Mortal Call right after, as Beastly setting up a fear, is gonna go for a big old Tyrant with all these pets empowered. Does he have himself maybe an obelisk to empower these pets further? Then it's gonna be a root totem over there in order to stop these pets from moving. But Kevin, I think, is doing AOK for no second. Falcor joining in. That's gonna be Demon Doggers right after. Oh, and that's just all that damage. Got himself the Earth Elemental last second, but it didn't matter. Smallpox charging in, trying to see if he can get aggressive with these Warlocks, as Beast is trying to see if he can mosey back over towards his side of the arena. It's going to be a dome coming down, trying to see if he can get a Vile Fiend in there. Is going to go for the port as the wall was out. Axe toss onto Smallpox, but Smallpox gripping him right back out the open. Beastie actually taking a lot of damage, and Smallpox was able to just get the full army of pets of his own and overpower him right after. Jacinta going to be up next. Yet another Elemental Shaman as well, trying to see if he can get himself a big Lava Burst proc onto Smallpox. He's looking to go for as much self-healing as possible. Got himself the IBF, able to avoid the knockback for a second, going for Death Strikes back-to-back as best as he can. Jacinta got himself the Guardian Spirits in order to keep protecting him with an Earth Elemental and a Fire Elemental joining in. Ascendance proc right now. Smallpox trying to see if he can survive past the Earth Shocks and maybe even the Frost Shocks. Jacinta with a Ghost Roll, just trying to see if he can back up out of there for just a second, but a Root is going to stop in place for just a moment. Earth Elemental, Fire Elemental, and just continue to blossom over his back. But for the most part, Jacinta has been able to avoid him. Stunned for a second. Jacinta trying to go for a cast, but is going to get interrupted by the main pet as it charges in. Blind under Jacinta, Smallpox, and no help whatsoever. Just give himself a bit of a breather. Gargoyle can maybe come back in. Trying to go for as much Death Strikes as possible. Jacinta decides an Earthshock, Frostshock, any kind of combo. Let Lots may just do it. And I think maybe, oh, it does get to take him down with a Lava Burst at the very, very tail. And well done with only rogues left over for the team 1. But we also got ourselves plenty over on Team 2, actually. Basically, was able to get through quite a lot of these guys. Jacinta having to hold the fort on their own right now if they can. It's going to be a big death mark on him. Lots of damage. Demonic not really giving him much of a chance to get out of there whatsoever. Ed is going to go for a couple of spikes as he's looking to retreat before the next competitor can pounce right on him. And it looks like Wartha Druid is going to be that next competitor. But Demonic trying to see if he can back up out of there, got himself a couple of Poison Blades. It's going to be a Shadow Step onto Worthless. Does have a trigger for the Kidney Shot. And Demonic just trying to see if he can back up out of there before the bleeds really do start ramping up on him. He is taking quite a bit amount of dot damage. He's bleeding out profusely. Leap by the Feral Druid, triggered by Demonic. Blind onto Worthless. Does he himself a full Kidney Shot? If you have himself a full Kidney Shot go, you may be okay. Worthless, I don't know if you have Barkskin. If you have Barkskin, maybe you'll be okay. If you got a Frenzy Regen, you might actually be okay. Needs a Barkskin right now. Don't know if he has it. Get a shot. Not the biggest opener, but Demonic does go for Frenzy. This is going to be immediate regrowth, but Worthless into a Bear Form Frenzy Regen right after, as long as he doesn't have too many poisons on him. He may be okay. Demonic does not have any dots on him though, so I think he's actually clean. but he cannot really quite catch himself a proper re-stealth. Ambush and follow right after. That's going to shot us up, and is going to be able to take him down. But I know this hurts. Is going to be up next. As a Destruction Warlock this time, not a Demonology this time around. Is going to take a couple of conflagrations, but I know this hurts. Not going to charge out at him immediately. Actually, Demonic might be able to get himself a proper reset behind the pillar, right? Going to be Demonic huddling behind the pillar. I know this hurts. Picking up the eye. Should be able to send out the Succubus. Definitely needs to send out the Succubus towards Rogue's location. The Succubus will point you to the right direction, but it won't run over there unless you actually send the pet at the Rogue. You got to target him. You got to send the pet. He doesn't realize the Rogue is right behind him. Oh, it's unfortunate. The eyes must have ran out by now. Maybe he can go for a second pickup, but for Demoniac, I think at this point, as long as he got himself a good hidey hole, he might actually be okay and could recover a lot of health. He's waiting out for as many cooldowns as possible. I know the Surge thinking of picking up the second set of eyes. Demoniac going in for a bit of a cannibalize. It does take him out of stealth, but he's able to get himself a little bit of a heal. This time, I know the Surge definitely does see him. Goes for Sam. Could go for the Succubus. You see to stop the Rogue from having to go. But he doesn't. Oh man, you definitely want to make sure you got a good pet control. There goes Succubus. Maybe wanted to wait until the last second. But it is going to be Demoniac going in for the Undead Racial. It is going to put his main trinket on cooldown. But want to make sure he breaks out of CC. I know the Surge popping the defensives immediately though. Wall as well as a Dark Bag. That is maybe an overcommitment on defenses. But it could allow Demoniac to potentially get a win here. Possibly. Might want to go for as many... Might want to go counter-offensive. I don't even know if he could really survive this go, but it's going to be Demonic with the Cloak of Shadows. Another Surge doesn't really have much to work with here. Maybe waiting for Mortal Coil, but it's going to be Vanish out of the Rogue. I think he does take him, and he does end up taking him out. That is just, I think, maybe a bit of an overcommitment by the Warlock for early on a couple of those cooldowns in the opener. And Demonic was able to exploit it. But at that point, like, you gotta make sure you establish mobility. You gotta have some gate. You gotta have a port. You gotta have some way to escape. But the Succubus, yeah, it was rough, man. Phantom Knights could get each other out. Sab, Dally in the opener. Demonic does have a trick in case he needs to. This is where Dally needs to maximize his damage before Demonic can really have a go. Kidney shot as he goes in for a shadow step. Maybe he could go for evasion. No, has another shadow step at the ready. It's going to be tricked out of Dally really early on. Demonic with an evasion, but Dally does not set up a death mark on him early enough. Cheap shot, but it's going to be incredibly DR. Demonic just trying to see if he can run away. Actually, there is a death mark on him. Or is there? I don't see a death mark. I think he literally tried to use death mark, but I think Demonic might have been able to evasion it entirely. I'm not seeing the man burning down to death mark. It's actually going to be able to reverse it onto Dally instead. Did you just evasion his death mark? That is actually so mean. Oh my goodness. Demonic going back with 4? All right. Rogue's looking pretty good then, huh? Let's get ourselves another one going here, boys. Yeah. Let's get ourselves worth